What's up, Sunrise and Jansen Elementary Schools? My name's Paul Schomer, and I'm here today to answer your guys' questions about both the Winter Olympics and the sport of biathlon. So let's get started. First question, what elementary school did you go to? I went to Sunrise Elementary, and at the time we called it the Barney School because there were the green and purple blocks out front, but you guys probably don't even know who Barney is, so that just makes me feel old. How did you get started in biathlon? When I was in high school, I got introduced to cross-country skiing. Then I started racing in cross-country skiing and eventually went to the College of St. Scholastica in Duluth, Minnesota. And it was my coach, Chad Salmla, who was an ex-biathlete himself, that introduced me to biathlon. And I went to my first camp with the US Biathlon team at the Olympic Training Center in Lake Placid, New York in 2014 for a talent ID camp. And they identified enough talent me to invite me back to some more camps. And then when I graduated from college in 2015, that's when I began my full-time career in biathlon. Another question that was kind of followed up on that one is, what inspired you to become a biathlete? For me, a lot of it was my college coach, Chad Salmla. Growing up, I didn't really think that I would ever be much of an athlete or think that there was much opportunity to become a professional athlete. And so when he believed in me as an athlete and said I could do it, thought at that point it'd be kind of cool to give it a try, and went for it. So it was during my time in college that really inspired me. How much do you train and how do you train? The bulk of our training actually happens in the off season from May through about November. During that time, we'll have training camps that are 3 weeks long. And during those training camps, we have 2 training sessions every single day. The morning starts at about 8:30 and goes to around 11:30 noon. So three hours, sometimes 4 hours. And generally we'll be on roller skis, which are short skis that have wheels on them. And we have a roller ski loop there, so we can ski around and shoot and basically do biathlon in the summer. And then the afternoon, usually gonna do some like stretching or foam rolling, massage, maybe do some PT if you have some injuries or some other things that you need to address with your body. You always got to make sure you're staying healthy. And then in the afternoon, we have our second training session, which is again roller skiing or running, biking, weightlifting. In the middle of the day or towards the end, you may also do a little bit of dry fire, which is just like doing some shooting drills. It becomes a full-time job. I usually get a couple of days off every month, but otherwise every single day is about 2 trainings. And then in the winter, we start to dial it back a little bit so that our bodies are ready to race. Still sometimes in the winter, we're still doing about 2 trainings a day. So quite a bit of training. What's your favorite part about biathlon? I think that my favorite part is the challenge of it all. It's an extremely difficult sport. There's a lot of ups and downs, but when you have a good day, it just makes it that much more meaningful. It's also probably the worst part of biathlon, but I think that's part of the reason why I like it so much. Why is it fun? Well, it takes me to a lot of cool places. I meet a lot of cool people, and I really enjoy the training too. So what do you like to do in your free time? What do I like to do in my free time? I like to spend time with my wife and dog back home any chance I get. I'm on the road a lot, so anytime I get to be back home and just kind of relax, I really enjoy that. I enjoy working on my car. I first started having to work on my car because I couldn't afford for someone else to work on it. What was a necessity has kind of turned into a hobby. It's also more fun when it's not a necessity. I also like to just be outdoors. I like to cook when I have time as well. But also when I'm on the road, I don't have like a full kitchen and stuff. So it's nice when I'm back home and have those things. Did you go to high school in Kimberly, and did you get good grades? Yes, I did go to high school at Kimberly High School. I graduated in 2010. Yeah, I got pretty decent grades. I wasn't valedictorian, but I think that's because there's a lot of nerds in my class. Have you ever met Simone Biles before? No, I have not. I'm a winter sport athlete, trained mostly out of the Lake Placid Olympic Training Center, which is in Lake Placid, New York. And I think a lot of summer athletes are in Colorado Springs. So never met Simone Biles. What does it feel like to be an Olympian? Right now, it feels pretty much like it did before I was an Olympian. Don't really feel like that much different of a person, but haven't been to Beijing yet, and I'm sure a little bit different once I'm there, have my feet on the ground and race. How many people can participate in each event? So in biathlon, there's only 92 start spots for both the men and the women in the sprint and individual competition. So those are the races where everybody begins the race. And then from the sprint, you can qualify for the pursuit race, which is only the top 60 finishers from the sprint competition. From the sprint, pursuit, and individual, there's 30 people that qualify for the mass start. All in all, there's 92 competitors that will be at the Olympics of each gender for biathlon. Have you ever trained in Wisconsin? Yes, I have trained in Wisconsin quite a bit. When I first started biathlon, I lived in Hayward, Wisconsin, in a little cabin up there. Definitely love to get back to Wisconsin when I can. Recently, I haven't been able to as much because I've been traveling so much with other camps and stuff, but I always enjoy being able to get back. How confident are you in winning the gold medal? I would say my confidence is pretty low. However, I am just concentrating on going there and having my best races. And if that best race I can put together allows me to win a gold medal, great. If not, I can be happy knowing that I put my best foot forward. When did you decide to become a biathlete? I would say that I probably decided after my first camp with the US Biathlon team, which was the Talent ID camp that I had mentioned before. After that, that's when I kind of saw that, hey, maybe I have a chance to do this sport. 13, why do you do all this stuff? Oh, that's kind of a hard question. Just something that I really feel like I'm kind of called to do, and it's a unique opportunity. And so to not chase after this would just really be it would be misusing my talents that I feel like I have. So just trying to be a good steward of the things I've been blessed with in some ways as well. How many people are on your team? For biathlon, we have 4 men and 4 women that will be going to Beijing, and then we also have a whole team of wax techs who prepare our skis for the races, and then also a men's coach and a women's coach. But there's only 8 biathletes that are going for the US. Do you like anything else? Yes, I definitely like other things. I like mountain biking, hunting, good food, paddling, I like old cars. Yeah, there's a lot of things I like. How far away is the target? The target is 50 meters away, or about 56 yards. Is it hard to stop skiing and shoot? Yes, sometimes. Other times it's not so hard, but yeah, you kind of have to learn how to ride that fine line. How different is it to ski with a gun? It's not that much different. You get used to it. It's like wearing a backpack. How heavy is the gun? The gun is, so the minimum weight, it has to weigh at least 3.5 kilograms or about 8 pounds. So I would say most people's rifles are right around 8 pounds. How often do you win? I don't feel like I win a whole ton. This year I've won 3 races. Where do your poles go when you are shooting? When I'm in prone, I set them on my right leg, like right on the mat, and then in standing, they go on the mat in between my legs. How do you calm yourself before a big competition? That's a good question. Heading into big competitions, I think you just got to really focus on the basics. You have the ability, the targets aren't any farther away, any smaller on race day, so if you just go do your normal thing, you should be fine. And also just kind of going into the race knowing that like the race doesn't define who I am and the result isn't going to change me anyway. That way if you go in happy, you have a greater likelihood of coming out of the race happy as well. How much experience do you have in this sport? Well, I've been competing since 2015. I've been on 3 World Championship teams, and I've now had 56 World Cup starts. In terms of the biathlon community, I would say I'm still a relatively young biathlete, starting to get more towards the experience. How does it feel to be in one of the biggest sporting events ever? It's definitely pretty exciting. There's also like a little bit of nervousness because you're on the biggest stage with the best athletes in the world. But just to like even qualify and be there is just a really special thing and something that I never really thought I would have the opportunity to do. So it's pretty special for sure. How do you dress warm enough? Traveling a lot, you get a lot of different winter conditions, like super cold in some places, warm, rainy, snowy, all those different things. But thankfully we got a good clothing sponsor with Maloya, and I also have some base layers from another sponsor of mine, KV+. And so you just kind of learn how to layer, and good clothes make a big difference. What kind of gun do you use? So here's my gun. It's an Anschutz Fortner with a slide action. So here you can see how it goes in and out. These are the clips. We never ski with ammo in our rifle. So every time I come in to shoot, I have to put this in. And then when I come into the next shooting, put the next one in. There's also snow covers on the sights because you don't want to get snow in the sights or else you won't be able to see your target. But this is my rifle, Anschutz Fortner. I also forgot to mention that my rifle is a 22 long rifle. Everyone shoots 22 long rifle. Did you like sports when you went to Kimberly High School? When I first was in Kimberly High School, I did not like sports. I didn't think I was very good at them. They just kind of made me feel bad about myself. Didn't really do much sports, but then once I found cross-country skiing, I really started to enjoy it. I did it for the right reasons. That's when I really started to develop a passion for sports. Really enjoyed running cross-country my junior and senior year of high school, and then eventually going to skiing. How did you get so good? A lot of hard work and just dedication, I would say. Definitely didn't happen overnight. Took a long time to get to where I am today. Definitely some talent involved as well. Definitely had some God-given gifts that helped me get to where I am today. Did you ever think you'd make it to the Olympics? When I was growing up, no way. There was no talk of Olympics or Olympians. I mean, when I saw the Olympics as a kid, that was like those were superhumans that had been training since they were young kids. To now be talking to you guys as an Olympian to compete in biathlon, a sport that I didn't even know about when I lived in Kimberly, I think it just kind of goes to show that you never really know what's on your path, and you're never going to find out unless you travel it. Thanks guys for all your questions, and I hope you can all enjoy watching biathlon at this year's Winter Olympics in Beijing, China.